Hey, and welcome back to Podcast Growth Tools. So, do you ever listen to your favorite guest, your favorite author, your favorite, I don't know, influencer on multiple podcasts and think to yourself, like, they're answering the same questions? I've heard them answer this before. Every single podcast interviewer or podcaster asks this guest or this influencer or whoever the same questions, and it's kind of boring, to be honest, like to the point where maybe you don't even listen to those episodes anymore when you see that person's name pop up because they've been on so many episodes. They've been asked the same questions a million times over, especially if they're on a book tour. Don't even get me started with that. But I think about, like, Mel Robbins comes to mind. She has been interviewed 100 times on 100 million podcasts, right? Like, she's everywhere. And I can guarantee you a handful of those podcasts, probably those podcasters, ask her the same questions. And there is a reason, right? Because as podcasters, we know it does take a little bit of effort to create the guest questions if you don't go off the cuff, especially if there is a book launch, you're trying to kind of follow suit with what they're requesting of you. So I understand that. And I also think as a podcast host, it is our duty and our responsibility to make the interview a little bit more unique and different from the next person's podcast, right? So today I'm going to share a really fun and easy hack that you can do to find out what themes or topics are trending within that person's world and that person's community so that you can ask them questions about that on your podcast, questions that are interesting and unique and maybe no one has ever asked them before, so that your podcast stands out above the rest. Your guest interview stands out above all of the rest. So this is going to be a really short episode. So if you are watching on YouTube, you are going to see a screen grab pop up, and I'm actually going to walk you through the tasks that I do to find really good, juicy, unique guest questions. If you are listening on an audio platform like Apple or Spotify, go ahead and head to podcastmarketinghub.com/guest. And I will actually send you the video of me doing the exact thing that I'm walking you through in this episode. I'll send you the screen grab so that you can see how I would go about this, how I would do this, and then you can do it on your own. Okay. So again, podcastmarketinghub.com/guest. And I will send you the screen grab that walks you through basically me doing this in real time on this episode, so that you can start actually having unique podcast guest questions. And the other thing I want to say is AI is a great tool to use for helping you get guest questions in order, coming up with unique topics and angles. But guess what? It's going to give you the same questions it gives everyone else when they ask what they should ask Mel Robbins on the upcoming interview. So again, it's going to set you apart from everyone else. And while I definitely think you can use AI kind of after you've done the research, doing this first, again, will make your interview way more interesting. Also, I want to say that I know it takes time to come up with good questions. I understand this strategy is intended to literally take you 10 minutes. So it should not take you very long. I mean, sometimes it will, right? Maybe 10 to 15 minutes max. But think about it. If you can spend 10 to 15 minutes preparing for your guests to come on your show, have a knock it out of the park style interview that gets shared because people are like, well, we love this person, but we've never heard them speak this candidly or about this topic they're so passionate about. It's going to make all the difference. Your show is going to stand out, especially for them too. That's another piece to this. As a guest, you don't want to be asked the same questions over and over and over. So if you as a podcast host can make that experience so much better for them and make it feel like you're not just asking generic questions from AI or questions that maybe they sent you because they have a press packet or something like that, they are going to want to share their wonderful experience that they had with you as a guest on your podcast with other people who might be great guests on your podcast, right? They're going to share their experience because it was so good. The other thing is they might invite you to be a guest on their podcast if they have one, because they love that you went above and beyond to really do your research and figure out what questions are unique. So, okay, let's dive in. Okay, so I'm going to jump to my screen share. All right, go ahead. Open up Instagram. When you open up Instagram, you are going to want to go down to the search icon on the bottom. So it's right next to the home icon. Click that. You are then going to search whoever your guest is. So I'm going to go with somebody called Leave and Learn. Her name is Taylor Moran. And she is really well known for rethinking how to homeschool or how to school her children. And so let's say I have a podcast on homeschooling and I want Taylor to come on my show. And she said yes. And now I am crafting my questions, but I do not want to ask her all the questions that she has already answered on other podcasts. So what I do is I go to her Instagram. I go to the Reels tab. So go ahead, click on the Reels. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm starting to look for any of her Reels that show a significantly higher view count than other ones, because that tells me a few things. One, it tells me that it's a topic that was very well shared. It was very well received. Maybe it was a hot button topic. Maybe it got some interesting conversations flowing. And it shows me that her audience was interested in it, which can be great because her audience, if she's a guest on your show, is probably the same audience that you have, right? So, okay, right away, I see she has one that's 56.3 thousand, 20,000, almost 24,000. She has one that's 255,000. I'm going to click on that one.
No intention of waking my children up at 6:30, 7 a.m., feeding them some shitty breakfast, getting them ready in some crappy school uniform, and then dropping them off with other people to raise them all day. I think as a society, we've been tricked into thinking that is normal. It's actually been much more normal to sleep in the same house as your kids, wake up and spend the day with them, and not drop them off, or not leave. I have no intention.
Okay, so the one that got 255,000 views is a reel with audio over it, sharing how we've been tricked into the belief that a public school is the way to go and that our children should be woken up, rushed through their morning, given cereal so that we can get them out the door on time, get them to the school, leave them with somebody all day so that they can be taught. And that is not necessarily what she believes in. And that's something that she actually disagrees with. So that could be a great conversation starter. So I, at this point, have opened up a Google Doc. I am now going to start taking notes and being curious about the post that she has. So that one was really interesting. So I might make a question or make just bullet points about that specific reel, or I might just craft a question if one comes to mind. So for example, I might say, how do you feel that we have been tricked into believing that we need to send our children to a public school with a strict regimen, something along those lines? Please know I'm not taking a stance on any side. I'm just using this purely as an example. I think she has a really interesting account. And so I wanted to use her because I also knew she had a decent following and we would be able to see some reels that had some bigger views. Okay, so if I keep going, I see another one here that got over 200,000 views versus the ones surrounding it were like 35,000 views. Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe I'll take a look at that.
I'm Taylor. This is my husband, Nick, and we run a nature school here in West. Remember? I'm Taylor. This is my husband, Nick, and we run a nature school here in Western Arkansas.
We call it the natural state school because children learn in their natural state.
Barefoot, outdoors, with freedom to move around. They make fires, do woodworking.
Okay, so this one is all about what she's doing, which is called a nature state school. And it is essentially providing an environment for kids to learn in their natural state. So that might look like running around barefoot, making fires, carving wood, climbing trees, things like that. So I want to know more about that. What does a natural state school actually look like? Why do you feel it's beneficial that kids learn in their natural state? So these could be questions. So I will continue going down the reel or down her reels tab, and I will continue to do that where I'm looking for the ones that have the most views, the most interaction, and then pulling questions out of that content, whether it be the content in the reel or the caption. And I'm starting to jot down ideas in my Google Doc. After I've done that, and really, you might have a multitude of questions from one reel, right? So when you feel like you've gotten a handful of questions that feel exciting and, spark your curiosity, and hopefully you're interested in hearing her answers to those questions, what I do at that point is I will take those questions that I've crafted and I will upload them to AI at this point. And I'll just ask something as simple as, how can we enhance these questions? Or are there any other questions off of these questions that I could ask my podcast guest to have her dive deeper into her expertise or these topics that seem to be exciting, relevant, and popular with our audiences. So honestly, it's that simple and it can be that fun. On top of what that is doing is it's allowing you to actually do a little bit of research about your guest before they come on. So often we won't really know a ton about our guests. Sometimes we will, but sometimes it's easy to just get caught up in I'm interviewing so and so. Okay, here's my AI crafted questions. Let's go. See where the conversation goes, which is great, right? Questions are simply a starting point. Let the conversation flow wherever it needs to, and you'll be set. So I hope you loved this short episode. I hope that you try this out for yourself, see how it is, see what kind of guest questions you come up with. I hope you find it really exciting and fun to do. I know I do. I always find way better questions than AI or just my thinking brain would ever give me when I do this exercise. So again, if you want to see the screen share, the screen grab of how to get to the Reels tab and then to kind of look through them, it's not a super long screen grab, but at least it can show you step 1, step 2, step 3. Go ahead and head to podcastmarketinghub.com/guest. You can also comment guest in my Spotify comments if that's what you would like. And then I can go ahead and send you that link directly as well, whatever you'd like. And thank you so much for being here. I am finding that I might be having some of these really shorter tactical exercise training type shows. So I hope you enjoy those. And thank you so much for being here. If you have not done so, please go ahead and leave me a rating and a review. Make sure you're following so that you never miss an episode. And I will see you next week. Bye.